The Florida Panthers are one of the best teams in the Atlantic Division. They were coming into this matchup with a 7-game winning streak. How did the New Jersey Devils fare against the reigning Stanley Cup champions, especially after a tough loss against the San Jose Sharks? I got all the coverage for you from Amerant Bank Arena. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Elliott scores! Oh, Stevens stepped up, nailed him. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here at the Locked On Network. I'm your host, Kyle Chalky, play announcer, Devils Wire for Pucks and Pitchforks, and also part-time credential media member Trey Matthews, coming to you from the press box here at Amerant Bank Arena. Everybody has gone home, and the New Jersey Devils came out victorious in Game 1 of 2 against the reigning Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. The Devils might be in the Sunshine State, but this is certainly no vacation. These next few games are going to be a challenge, and they already completed the first task, but the job is not finished. Entering this matchup, the Panthers were rocking a 7-game winning streak, and their record was 11-3-1, and they were first in the Atlantic Division. Panthers are still strong, coming off a title. Shocker. And the Devils are coming off a tough loss against the San Jose Sharks, a game in which they lost 1-0, and they got shut out by their former goalie, Mackenzie Blackwood. And Timo Meier kind of helped the Sharks a little bit, his former team. But anyway, let's not harp on the past. Let's talk about this fantastic showing from New Jersey. What's on the agenda for today's episode? In the first segment, I will share some of my main takeaways from the press box. Then in the second segment, I will play some sound bites from Paul Cotter, Jacob Markstrom, and head coach Sheldon Keefe. And I will also list some honorable mentions and name my personal 3 stars of the game, like I do with every post-game recap victory. And then in the third and final segment, I will compare the stats and give the Devils a letter grade. What I noticed from this Panthers team is that they are a team with killer speed. It didn't matter if it was even strength, the power play, penalty kill. The Panthers love to go off and running. And right from the opening faceoff, it seemed like the Devils were struggling to establish offensive zone time. Before the Jack Hughes goal, almost halfway through the first period, the Panthers generated almost 9 shots on Jacob Markstrom, and it seemed like the Devils were in trouble to start the game early. Markstrom had to be on his A game, and he delivered and more. And the Panthers were also playing physical, laying some big early hits. But like I just mentioned, thanks to Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, and Dougie Hamilton, the Devils struck first. And let's just talk about that sequence of events. Yes, the Jack Hughes goal was nice, but what about the backhanded pass by Jesper Bratt? If that's not on SportsCenter Top 10, I don't know what jumps over it, but that was a phenomenal setup by Bratter. Got to give him his roses, because I think while Jack got the goal, Bratt certainly stole the show, and Hughes let a laser go. But it's still early in the game. A lot can happen. And towards the end of the first period, Stefan Nason was assessed a slashing call, and Dillon was given a roughing call for removing the helmet off of Matthew Tkachuk's head, which I found somewhat comical. And the Devils are on the 5-on-3 disadvantage. And I was really worried that New Jersey was going to give the Panthers an easy path to tie this game. Luckily, the Devils killed off that crucial 5-on-3, and they took the 1-0 lead heading into the first intermission. Now, come the second period, things seemed to go swimmingly for the Devils until midway through that period. Paul Cotter got assessed a high stick, and the Panthers capitalized on the man advantage thanks to Sam Reinhart. And prior to that penalty, the Devils actually killed off 20 straight penalties, but they're still obviously one of the top teams in the NHL in that department. It was bound to happen, but it's a tie game, and you just worry that the momentum is going to shift back to the Panthers because, like I said, the Panthers love to play with speed. They're the reigning champions for a reason. They've been to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals, and they're still best of the best in the Atlantic Division. But moments later, this is where I think the Devils really got a boost, and it was thanks to Brenden Dillon. Dillon did what he is prone to do. He dropped the mitts and went at somebody. He went toe-to-toe with Jonah Gadjovich. Unfortunately, Dillon did lose that fight despite pulling the jersey of Gadjovich over his head, but Gadjovich was still landing some good punches, and down went Dillon, but up came the momentum for the Devils, and that's when they really started to settle on down. Game is tied 1-1, and Devils once again silenced the crowd. Panthers turned it over late in the period, and Timo Meier scored on a great breakaway, and you knew Meier had to redeem himself after the last game. And then come the third period, the energy picked up even more, and you just knew that the Devils were not going to lose this game. Paul Cotter, he netted his 7th goal of the season. He is now tied his goal total from last season. I'll talk more about that in the second segment. And Andre Palat got the empty netter goal. He now has his 3rd goal of the season. And while Palat is not one of my 3 stars of the game, nor is he an honorable mention, I do want to give credit to Palat because it seems like he's been playing a better game of hockey the last few games. Like I've said before, don't expect for him to rack up the points, but when his name is called, sometimes he can make the big play, and down go the defending champions. Their 7-game winning streak was snapped. I guess my main takeaway from this matchup was that the momentum wasn't with the Devils to start the game, but slowly but surely, as the game progressed, the Devils made the big plays to make sure that the Panthers didn't walk all over them, and they had some great contributions from people like Brenden Dillon in more ways than one. I saw Stefan Nason go at it with a couple of Panthers players, and at some point in the third period, there was a pile up below the goal line of Jacob Markstrom. And I even put it out on social media. I said, it's getting hot in Hell's Kitchen. I just loved the passion in this game from New Jersey. Very entertaining brand of hockey. Okay, I will play some sound bites that I obtained from the locker room and also list my personal 3 stars of the game momentarily. But before we continue, let me tell you guys about Game Time. I've actually used Game Time before to purchase myself some MLB and NBA tickets. And if you're in the Florida area, why not purchase some tickets from Game Time when the Devils take on the Panthers yet again on Thursday and the Lightning on Saturday? Game Time Picks. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. All in pricing. Toggling this feature shows total upfront with no surprise fees at checkouts. Seat views. Get a good view of your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time, everybody. All right. Before I list my 3 stars of the game, first, some honorable mentions. The first one goes to Luke Hughes. Great defensive efforts. He was flying all over the sheet of ice. And there were a couple big defensive plays in which the Panthers were going off and running, and Hughes was able to use his speed to negate the offensive attack from the Panthers. And I even put it out on social media saying, like, I think Luke Hughes' defense was phenomenal in this game. I asked head coach Sheldon Keefe his thoughts on Luke Hughes' defensive effort. Here's what he had to say to me. What can you say about Luke Hughes' defensive effort? Seems like he was flying all over the rink tonight.
Yeah, it's a great point. I thought he was really good. It's 2 in a row now that he's been really good. And today, defensively, you're challenged a lot against the quality of the opponent. And I thought he just met it straight on. I just loved how he was uptight and skating and using his big body to close. He was competitive. Yeah, lots to like about his game.
Can you credit that to maybe Brett Pesce and them getting back together, like rehabbing together to get back into the lineup?
Oh, I think Pash has had a great influence on our entire group, with his experience and such. But this is on Luke. Like he's taken ownership of his game. Like he wants to be not just good on offense, but good defensively. He wants to be counted on. We've been challenging our entire group to do that, and today was just a really nice effort and should serve as a great sample for him going forward of what he's capable of.
Like I said, the points aren't really there for Luke Hughes, similar to last year. But honestly, I'm not really bothered by it. I am way more impressed with Luke Hughes' defensive efforts. I think it's been really good ever since he's come back from injury. And dare I say, he's one of the better defensive-minded defensemen for the Devils this season. Did you have that on your bingo card? I certainly didn't. He's transformed his game in more ways than one. He's using his big body frame to his advantage, and I think pairing him alongside Brett Pesce has done wonders for him. Obviously, similar to what Keefe said in that soundbite, you got to give a good amount of the credit to Luke Hughes and his own development, but Brett Pesce, I'm sure, had a hand in it. My next honorable mention, it has to go to Paul Cotter. Paul Cotter got his 7th goal this season. And let's do a bit of a comparison from last season, shall we? Paul Cotter, in 76 games played with Vegas last season, 25 points, 7 goals, 18 assists. This season, 19 games played, 12 points, 7 goals, 5 assists. Paul Cotter, I've said it in prior episodes. I said it in an article that I wrote for Pucks and Pitchforks. He's been one of the bigger surprises this season, and he's not a one-dimensional player similar to Alexander Holtz. And I'm not even factoring his hits or his other contributions in that sort of aspect. But just from an offensive standpoint, Cotter has been a breath of fresh air for New Jersey, and he can do a lot of other things to help the Devils win games. And I actually asked him about this post-game when it comes to comparing this season to last year. Here's what he had to tell me. Cotter, after tonight, you've tied your goal total from last season. You're halfway to your points total. Just collectively this season, what's been different for you compared to your previous team with Vegas?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think obviously as you get a couple of years under your belt, no matter where you are, you're going to do a little bit better. And Vegas was a great stepping stone for me. Nothing but awesome stuff to say about that place and organization. But I have a lot of respect for Fitzy, making that trade, and Sheldon giving me a little bit more opportunity, whether it's 4-on-4 or just different situations that I can thrive in or show my potential. So I think it's just getting a little bit more opportunity, get a little bit more comfortable to make plays, and obviously playing with Nason and Halsey for the most part, and then we mesh easy, so it makes it easy on me.
My third honorable mention goes to Jesper Bratt. He got the primary assist on Jack Hughes' goal to get the party started for the Devils. He also got the primary assist on Andre Palat's empty netter goal, so he sort of ended the party. Jesper Bratt now has 21 points in 19 games played, and I feel like more people need to talk about it, and I think more people are definitely going to talk about him since he had a nice backhanded assist to Jack Hughes. That caught headlines throughout hockey social media. All right, my third star goes to Jacob Markstrom. Like I said in the first segment, the Panthers, they were giving Markstrom hell to begin this game, and I heard the oohs and ahs from the crowd when they thought the Panthers had a golden opportunity to score, but Markstrom stymied them. His goal saved above expected was 2.3, and he saw 35 shots and made 34 saves. Markstrom was just phenomenal in net. And this goes back to what I've been preaching the past couple episodes, which is I don't care what the numbers say. I even spoke to Chico Resch about this. I really don't give a crap if the numbers and analytics are saying that the Devils have below average goaltending. I don't believe it for a second. Jake Allen and Jacob Markstrom pass the eye test for me. They really do. And Chico agreed with me. Goaltending, it's sometimes hard to assess it, but I can just say one thing. Jake Allen and Jacob Markstrom, they're not Vitek Vanecek and Akira Schmid. They are similar to Paul Cotter, Brett Pesce, Brenden Dillon, Stefan Nason, all the other players that seem to be fan favorites as well. They are a breath of fresh air. I know Jake Allen was with the team last year, but this is going to be his first full season with New Jersey. Markstrom spoke to the media about his outing and the defense in front of him. Here's what he had to say.
Jacob, one of those games where you were seeing everything well, cool, calm, and collected for the group in front of you. What did you like personally first out of your performance?
Well, I think my performance mirrors the way we played today. And like you said, too, I was seeing everything, and we did a great job in front of me. And moving bodies and taking sticks away and clearing out rebounds. So, the team effort for sure, and it, reflects my game and, the result too. It's a big win down here.
This is a difficult team to face, and throughout the game, momentum swings, but the Devils had a really good response, especially in the second period. What were you seeing in front of you? Yeah,
I mean, they were pushing. Obviously, there's a really good team on the other side, and I thought we locked it down. They obviously got the goal, and then, Dillon with the big tilt there and, got everyone going, and then, a huge goal for Timo, and, it's 2-1. So, we got out of that period still up by 1. So that was big, and then, it's a chess match, and you don't want to break. So we didn't, and, ended up with 2 points.
My second star goes to Jack Hughes, who got the opening goal. In his last 4 games, Jack Hughes has 7 points, 4 goals, 3 assists. Jack Hughes is starting to come back, and it seems like he's gaining a lot more confidence. And we've seen this in his previous few outings. In the game against the Canadiens, he had a 3-point showing. In the very next game against the Islanders, he had a 3-point showing. In fact, he led the comeback effort for the Islanders to blow the infamous 3-1 lead. And now in this game against Florida, he got the party started, and he silenced the crowd, and he killed the momentum that the Panthers had to start the game. So Jack Hughes is my second star. My first star, it has to go to Timo Meier, and here's why. I said it in the first segment. Meier had to redeem himself after inadvertently knocking the goal behind his own netminder of Jake Allen and helping his former club win. The Sharks beat the Devils 1-0, and Mackenzie Blackwood was phenomenal in between the pipes for San Jose, and he sort of got his vengeance against his former team. I'm sure Meier felt bad about it, and in this game, he got the game-winning goal, and it was an electrifying one. It wasn't a fluke goal. It was a breakaway. We've seen Meier do that before this season, and now Timo has 14 points in 19 games played. So Meier is my personal first star of the game. All right, I'm about to compare the stats and give the Devils a letter grade momentarily and check out from Amerant Bank Arena. But before I do, let me tell you guys about Prize Picks. I've actually used Prize Picks before, especially during the basketball season. Love it. Highly recommend it. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get in on the action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, so your lineups can stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup live. Like I said, highly recommend using Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. And now, let me tell you guys about FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And please remember to always gamble responsibly. Okay, before I compare the stats, give the Devils a letter grade, and check out from Amerant Bank Arena, let's play some more sound bites. Here's what Jacob Markstrom had to say about getting a big win against the reigning Stanley Cup champions, especially after a disappointing showing in the Devils' previous matchup. Take a listen.
Marky, how satisfying is it to get this win against the defending champions, especially since they were coming in with a 7-game winning streak and you guys had a tough outing in your last matchup against the Sharks?
Yeah, it's big. Obviously, like I said, before the Sharks game, I thought our play has been similar to what it was today, and I think when you go through slumps and you got to get right back on the winning train, and we did that. So it's tough to beat the same team twice, and we got a tough task ahead of us here in a few days.
Here's what Paul Cotter had to say about it.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, it shows what our group can do. I think there's a lot of questions. We had a lot of good spurts throughout games, but can't really put together quite a full 60. I thought we did a pretty close job of that, and this is a team that you got to tip your cap to them. They're a great team. They do a lot of things well, and it just shows what our group can do tonight based off the ending.
I think both of them are absolutely right. This is a big win for New Jersey because while they're not as inconsistent compared to last year, they've had their ups, they've had their downs. They're not off to the best of starts, but they're certainly far from worse. And I would say this was a statement victory for New Jersey. I'd say if they can walk out of Florida with 4 of 6 potential points, that's a successful road trip for them. Or if they collect 3 out of 6 points, that's not all that bad either. Could do a little bit better. 50-50. That's perfect math. 3 out of 6, 50-50. But anyway, digressing a little bit. Important win for New Jersey, but the job is not finished. You already overcame the first hurdle. You got 2 more to overcome. Panthers, Paul Maurice is going to get his crew ready for Thursday's matchup. And the Devils already know how dangerous the Tampa Bay Lightning can be because even though the Lightning aren't really doing the best in the Atlantic Division, they certainly handled the Devils by scoring 8 goals on them in their first meeting. So the Devils still got to be on their A game. But for the time being, let's compare the stats, give the Devils a letter grade, and get out of here. Shots on goal differential, 35-24 in favor of Florida. The Devils slowed it down a little bit as the game progressed, but Florida just came out buzzing. Power plays, Devils were 0 for 1. Florida was 1 for 3 thanks to Sam Reinhart. Hits, 36-25 in favor of Florida. Giveaways, 18-15 in favor of New Jersey. Takeaways, dead even, 4 apiece. Block shots, 21-9 in favor of New Jersey. If I had to give the Devils a letter grade, I will give them an A-. I was leaning towards a B+, but considering the fact that the Panthers were coming in with a 7-game winning streak and the Devils had a disappointing loss, I think this was a good statement victory for them to redeem themselves and show on a national scale, because this game was aired on ESPN, that they're still a force to be reckoned with, and you cannot underestimate them. So I give the Devils an A-. Let me know what you guys thought of the overall effort from the Devils, from an offensive standpoint, a defensive standpoint. What did you think of Jacob Markstrom's showing? And what are your expectations moving forward as the Devils have a couple more games here in Florida? And I will have the coverage for you in Sunrise and Tampa Bay. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on podcast streaming service, hit me up on my personal X Page app at TreyMatt4 or the show's X Page app at Locked On Devils. As for today's episode, that's all the time I have for you. Continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day, New Jersey. Go Devils. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Trey Matthews signing out from Amerant Bank Arena.